Hi there, welcome to MitoQ headquarters here in sunny Auckland, New Zealand. My name's John Marshall and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer.
And I'm Sean Price, I'm the Head of Customer Acquisition at MitoQ.
MitoQ is a small business, growing fast, which is great news. But we're a solution you've never heard of to a problem you don't know exists, because nobody knows what cellular health is and they don't know what mitochondrial health is, and they might have heard free radicals but they don't really know what they are, and they've heard about antioxidants and they think that's good but I don't really know what they do. Well, MitoQ started off as a science experiment in Otago University by a couple of very clever scientists. They realised that there's an enzyme called CoQ10 that we produce naturally in our bodies, but which starts to tail off in terms of natural production from about the age of 30 onwards. And so they figured out how to shorten the CoQ10, and then they added a positive ion to it called triphenylphosphonium. The mitochondria are negatively charged, or the MitoQ is positively charged. Those two things connect. The compound is small enough to be absorbed through the membrane, and then the mitochondria take it on board and go, wow, the very thing we needed. We're going to replenish our system and get the process rolling. We've now got over 30 human clinical trials with many more in the pipeline. So there's an awful lot of information and proof out there and validation that MitoQ does a lot of good. Because we are regulated under the category of dietary supplement, there is a lot of limitations around what we can and we can't say, because it lands us in a therapeutic claim space that we can't promote and we can't talk to. Therefore, there are also a lot of benefits to taking MitoQ that we can't tell you about, because that also takes us into the therapeutic claim space. So the way we've tackled that is to be very systematic and strategic about what we know we need to do to connect with you. We've got 4 key platforms that work interdependently that create this communication ecosystem and selling ecosystem that we now deploy and spin up. The first platform's brand, the emotional connection. We want you to connect with us on an emotional basis and feel like this is something relevant to you that you're really interested in and your curiosity has been triggered. Once you've clicked on the ad and you come onto a landing page or into our website, we've now got to answer the question, well, who the hell are you and what the hell do you do? That's the e-com platform. We have a product platform, obviously. So we've got a range of products that we need to put in front of customers and explain what they do, what their features and benefits are, so that it's easy for you to make a choice about which one is the right one for you. And of course, when you press the buy now button and you become a customer, we then have to love you to death, because this is a product you should be taking for life.
MitoQ.com is a headless website. It's hosted on Craft CMS, Content Management System, which then is served through a bunch of technologies and hosting to get it onto the actual front end. E-commerce wise, we sit on BigCommerce. BigCommerce for us is also headless. So what headless means is that the technologies running the background where we manage the site are actually decoupled from the front that the customer sees. This gives us a whole lot more flexibility in terms of the way we present the site to the customers and the users. You've got a web experience that is personalized to the customer, and that can be where they are physically, that can be where they are in the customer journey, that can be the type of person that we believe them to be. The whole notion of having this website and that website and that website, we're moving away from that. And it's these underlying headless technologies that are allowing us to do that.
The process for producing mitoquinol is actually very complex and is also patented. It's done in the US at this point in time because that's the only place that we can get it done efficiently. The base material or raw material is then shipped back to New Zealand, where we encapsulate it, bottle it, label it, package it, and we manage distribution of that stock up into our primary markets with the use of 3PLs who are domiciled in those markets. We get ahead of the demand forecast, make sure that the supply of stock is sitting in the distribution centres. So if you're purchasing from the US, it's going to be shipped from a distribution centre that sits in the middle of the US, not from Auckland, so you get it quicker. So our 2 primary selling channels in the US are MitoQ.com, which is ours, our proprietary channel, so a direct-to-consumer platform, and Amazon. 50% of our sales in the US go through that channel. The reason we use Amazon is that the Americans are using Amazon through their Prime accounts. It's incredibly convenient for them. A new customer to MitoQ will come to our website and have a look and get some education and learn a little bit more about it. And they always go to Amazon to see if it's stocked there and also to look at the reviews. And that gives it credibility.
Credibility sits across a couple of layers for us and particularly unique to the health space. We don't really work with influencers, but we do work with a panel of experts. So people who people can trust, doctors, athletes. At the customer level, the testimonials, things like customer reviews, that peer-to-peer stuff goes a really long way. Amazon's hugely important here because Amazon is third party. We don't control the reviews, Amazon do. Trustpilot themselves are great. We've worked very closely with them to optimize the program because what we're looking at is, are we getting people to give us feedback and are we collecting that feedback and able to present it to the customer? The way that we go about using customer data, and the thing you have to start with is that an e-commerce website does not have much customer data. So what we start to do is create badges. You might collect the science badge, I know how this product works, and you might click the proof badge, hey, I've seen some studies, and you might click the brand badge, this really resonates with me. And we would pop those into a grouping, and we would say, well, customers that have seen those three things, what else do they need to see? And we will figure out the fourth badge, we'll test and learn and figure out what the fourth thing that you need to see is. And we will serve a personalized experience to you based on the badges that you've collected. So this takes away a reliance on third-party data, which is data that Google and Meta or Facebook can collect on our behalf, and it puts the onus on first-party data that we own, and what's becoming known as zero-party data, which is data that customers voluntarily give us.
You got to be patient. It's not easy. You got to roll your sleeves up and you got to embrace the grind and love the grind. We like to follow a sort of a 4-step process. Build it, make it work, optimize it, scale it. A lot of people want to get into the scale it bit first because they think it's easy and they go for the shiny stuff. Well, you have to have the right balance between doing enough today to keep the lights on, but building for the future as well. And I think that's one of the great things about MitoQ is it's a one-team philosophy. It's not a collection of silos, it's very much an interdependent group of functions that are lined up right behind that customer goal and those deliverables. And so that's one of the reasons why we've been able to accelerate growth.